Welcome to Just Telling Stories. Without further ado, let's get into the story. Drake sat in his dark, empty living room, staring blankly at the wall. He had everything he could ever want in life: good friends, riches, cars, adoring fans, and family. But none of it mattered. His heart was forever broken, and he would always be left wondering what could have been. It all started with Rihanna. She was different from any other woman he had ever met. Her beauty was undeniable, but it was her strength and confidence that really drew him in. They had an instant connection, and it was clear from the beginning that they were meant to be together. They were both at the height of their careers when they started dating, and they quickly became the hottest couple in the music industry. They were constantly in the public eye, but they didn't let the pressure get to them. They were happy just being together, and their love only grew stronger with each passing day. But then things started to fall apart. They were both so busy with their careers that they didn't have much time for each other. They tried to make it work, but the distance between them only grew wider. And then the unthinkable happened. Rihanna was caught cheating on Drake with another man. He couldn't believe it. How could the woman he loved more than anything in the world betray him like this? He was heartbroken, but he tried to forgive her and move on. But things were never the same. Drake couldn't help but feel like he was always second best. He knew Rihanna loved him, but he also knew that she would never love him as much as he loved her. He tried to move on, but he just couldn't. He threw himself into his work, hoping that it would distract him from his pain. His music became more introspective, and he poured his heart and soul into every song. His fans loved it, and he became even more successful than before. But no matter how much success he achieved, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. He tried dating other women, but he just couldn't connect with them like he had with Rihanna. They were all beautiful and talented, but they just didn't have that spark that he had felt with her. And so he resigned himself to a life of loneliness. He would always have his friends and family, but he knew that he would never find love again. His heart would always belong to Rihanna. Years went by, and Drake's career continued to soar. He won countless awards, sold out stadiums, and became one of the most successful musicians of all time. But none of it brought him the happiness that he craved. And then, one day, he heard that Rihanna was getting married. He felt like his heart had been ripped out of his chest. He had always known that it was a possibility, but he had never been prepared for the reality of it. He tried to be happy for her, but he just couldn't. He watched from afar as Rihanna got married and started a family. He saw pictures of her with her husband and children, and he felt a pang of jealousy and sadness. He knew that he could never have what they had, and it broke his heart. But even in his darkest moments, he knew that he would always love Rihanna. No matter how much time passed, no matter how many women he dated, no one could ever replace her in his heart. She was the one that got away, and he would always wonder what could have been. And so, Drake continued on with his life, always carrying the weight of his unrequited love with him. He knew that he would never find true happiness, but he also knew that he couldn't give up on the hope that maybe, just maybe, he and Rihanna could find their way back to each other. He tried to stay busy, working on new music and collaborating with other artists, but his mind always wandered back to Rihanna. He wondered if she ever thought about him, if she ever missed him the way he missed her. He knew that he couldn't keep living like this, but he didn't know how to move on. Finally, one day, he decided to take a break from everything. He went on a retreat to a secluded cabin in the woods, hoping that the peace and quiet would give him some clarity. He spent his days hiking and fishing, and his nights sitting by the fire, lost in thought. And then, one night, he had a dream. He was back in the studio with Rihanna, working on a new song. They were laughing and joking around just like they used to. And then suddenly, they were kissing. It was like no time had passed at all, and they were back in each other's arms. When he woke up, he knew that he had to do something. He couldn't keep living like this, always wondering what could have been. He decided to reach out to Rihanna to see if there was any chance that they could reconcile. At first, he was nervous. He didn't know how she would react, or if she even wanted to hear from him. But to his surprise, she responded almost immediately. They started talking, catching up on each other's lives, and it was like no time had passed at all. Slowly but surely, they started to rebuild their relationship. They went out on dates, took long walks on the beach, and spent hours talking on the phone. And it was like nothing had ever come between them. They still had that same spark, that same connection that had drawn them together in the first place. It wasn't easy, of course. They had both been hurt, and they had to work through their trust issues. But they were committed to making it work, and they knew that they couldn't let their past mistakes define their future. And so, years after their initial breakup, Drake and Rihanna finally found their way back to each other. They got married in a private ceremony, surrounded by their closest friends and family. And as they danced together under the stars, Drake knew that he had finally found the happiness that he had been searching for all these years. He knew that he would always love Rihanna more than anything in the world. But this time, he didn't have to wonder what could have been. They were together, and nothing could ever tear them apart again.